You met some new friends? We have new friends? Yes, checking each other out. Everybody friendly?
Hey folks, Josh here with my buddy Brent Jubikowski.
Jacobowski.
Close
enough. That's a tough one.
You know, blind squirrel finds a nut once in a while. But Brent's my buddy who runs a company called Green Mountain Synergy, making some of the best CBD products known to man. And he came by to take a tour of Rugged Ridge Forest and get a taste of what we're all about and check out a boil. And yeah, just having a great day, enjoying some sunshine on a beautiful early spring day, and letting the dogs frolic and make some syrup, and life is good. This is Hugo.
Oh, you're beautiful.
He's a standard bred Percheron cross, and he's 2 years old and a big old teddy bear.
He is gorgeous. Yes.
And horses communicate through breath. So if you want to say hi to him, yeah, give him a little blast to the nostril. He'll return the favor.
You're gorgeous.
And then the one in the back is Hildy.
How old are they?
He's 2, she's 9. And feel free to come right on in. So basically, he knows everything, or she knows everything, and I'm trying to teach him everything, but he's just a really good horse. He's no trouble.
Yeah, I'm not too familiar with a lot of horses. I've always wanted to ride one before. I've never gotten on one before.
Nice.
They're beautiful though. These guys are gorgeous horses. What breed did you say they were?
Standard bred Percheron. So standard bred is like your Amish over the road cart horse, and Percheron is like a field horse. You know, like a heavier built, you know, they were war horses, they were meat horses. But I basically wanted a hybrid horse that could do it all. So this way you can ride them, but they also got enough strength to pull and
So yeah, how many gallons a day can you crank out of this thing if you're really pushing it?
so there's so many different metrics at play, it depends what you're measuring. But once this thing is hot and running, we can make a barrel 55 gallons of maple syrup in about 45 minutes to 50 minutes. Once everything's going. Now it takes a couple hours to warm up and a couple hours to shut down.
Yeah.
But if you have the sap, that's about how quickly you can create the nuggets.
And do you burn a specific type of wood, all wood? Do you try to just get soft wood so it burns hotter?
No, we burn what we got.
Yeah.
For us, most of what we got is diseased beech wood. And beech actually has good thermal properties. It has high density, so it has a lot of energy in it.
Yeah.
However, I prefer to burn beech in my house, and then I'll wind up burning softwood and junk wood in the evaporator because it's all heat. And, you know, it burns it so quickly. It doesn't matter if it's a little quick.
One second. Stay outside. Stay out. Get locked out. So what is that disease that goes after it's beech trees? Because it's all over my property too. I get them to about like, I don't know, 10, 15 years old, and they just die and just get all like diseased, and it seems like they're just like big dead beech trees all over my property.
I think beech blister rust is the layman's term, and then I used to have the Latin on the tip of my tongue.
It's okay, we'll let you go for that.
Yeah, but it's very easy to identify. It eventually, you know, decreases the vigor of the tree. You know, trees don't really die; they just get less efficient. You can cut a tree down, and it's still going to send sprouts up and still be alive in a certain sense. But you know, they just get less efficient, and the more trees you have that are suffering that disease, the more vectors of pathogen you have in your forest. So it makes sense for us to harvest the wood, use it to make maple syrup, and then I'll never cut a clear beech tree. If the beech tree has no blister rust, I leave that. That's the future of the species right there.
Yeah.
But I'll take the ones around it that are vectors. You can see examples of that right here in our firewood.
Yep.
You know, this is that's one that is you know, further gone and deteriorating, as are these. But then over there you can kind of see the smoother bark. That nearer piece has less of it. But when the beach is perfect, it's like smooth and gray and beautiful. But we don't have any of that.
Oh, that's a great point. That's exactly how nature works. If you want to preserve a species, nature knows how to do it. It will take out the weak plants with something, either a virus, a disease, or some bug will come in and really decimate it. But the plants that will be resistant to it will be the ones that you want to breed. And that's a really smart way of managing the woods, is allowing those trees that are naturally resistant to the disease to remain the ones that actually become bred and actually are able to propagate themselves. So I really appreciate Josh for sharing that little tip, and I'm going to actually implement that into my woods.
And as humans, we can screw that up. Oh, that's not the problem. I was going for too long. It's too good a care of me. I can't stay around anymore. Like, I am the best, and you get the best.
Yeah, no, this is an impressive boiler, Josh. I've been around some smaller sugar shacks that are wood fired, but nothing like this before.
Yeah, we're trying to do everything at the right scale. You know, in order for a couple families to be supported, you can't do it off a pan that size. You know, you gotta be topping enough trees to, you know, make a living off of it, and you know, selling up maple syrup to be able to feed a couple families. So
I don't think people understand how much sap it really is necessary, and how much is required to actually produce an amount of maple syrup that's profitable. I have 35 acres at my house, and I know I've toyed around with the idea of investing in some type of maple syrup setup. But the more I toy around with it, the more I'm like, yeah, this makes a lot more sense as a hobby and not as a business.
you gotta start with the labor of love. That's actually what I was telling Ray about YouTube, is that, you know, you start doing the YouTube because you like making videos, you want to share them with your friends. Next thing you know, you strike a nerve, you become popular, you make a viral video, and then you can either choose to continue on with it or be a one-hit wonder. But you know, if you get into YouTube expecting 1 million followers and $1 million, it's going to be a long and lonely journey to that point. But if you like doing it already, then, you know, it's only a matter of time until you know, things may or may not line up for you.
I agree. What's your YouTube channel, Josh? So you can shout that out now.
Rugged Ridge Forest, which is as well. So,
yeah, so we're at Rugged Ridge Farms right now. He's got Forest Farms. Is it Forest Farms or just Rugged Ridge Forest?
Right there on the barrel.
Awesome.
Sit down.
Beautiful. Labeled barrels and everything. That's official, brother. How big's your sap tank up there?
That one's like 1,200 gallons, and we got about 13,000 gallons outside, not counting 4,500 gallons of wash water permeate after we cover that. Let me check in with my main man, see what he needs out of me, and maybe do a more elaborate tour.
Yeah, take your time. What a beautiful timber frame structure. Little wood fire going here to keep the place warm. Just a very impressive operation all around. Gorgeous boiler. We'll have to get back up here when it's really cranking and get some more content. He actually thought he had a little more sap to boil today, but I got up here a little late and he was shut down before I even had a chance to get any content of the whole boiling.
I'm bowing out 15 minutes and I'll check it in. Is that okay? Yeah. Thank you.
Yes, we're back. I know, that was a long time. You guys having fun still?
A little bit of control in your eyes.
No, that's great in there.
But yeah, you want a little tour down here?
Yeah, show me around, whatever you want to show me. I'm willing to.
We're wood fired. We feel that the wood fired difference is the most important modifier that separates us from other maple syrups on the market. Most folks these days are using steam. Steam cooks at a much lower temperature, roughly 260, 230 to 260 degrees Fahrenheit. Wood cooks at about 1400 degrees Fahrenheit. So that's the difference between a boiled hot dog and a grilled hot dog. You get the caramelization, you get a little bit of a richer color, you definitely get a richer flavor.
Alright guys, relax. Okay, it's fine. I know, we're very excited. You guys don't make it easy to capture video. But yeah, so you're saying it's steam hot dog versus
We'll
grill.
take care of it in post.
Yeah, steam hot dog versus grill hot dog.
Exactly. So you make a much higher quality product from a wood fire. I've worked at places where they use steam, and the quality of product is really disappointing. And that's why I decided, if I'm privileged enough to make my own maple syrup, I'm going to make it the best way I know how.
Yeah.
Which is, over a wood fire. Not only is it good for the product, but it's also good for our farmers. Culling the diseased trees, keeping the forest healthy, working the woods at a good scale, and carbon neutral, sustainable, no dependence on foreign oils. As you see, dependence on foreign oils is what's causing insecurity in Ukraine right now, in the whole world.
Yeah.
The Middle East 10 years ago, Ukraine right now.
Yeah.
So why not worry about fuel that I get, from my back 40?
Yeah, we got it right here. Why not use it? I mean, there's no sense in pumping it out of the earth where it really should be staying. And
Yeah, it's in the same carbon cycle. So the carbon naturally cycles throughout the atmosphere. We have a set amount in the atmosphere, it gets sequestered into the trees. The tree dies and rots and it returns to the atmosphere. And we have that relatively closed loop cycle. What fossil fuels do is they take the stuff that was removed from that cycle. There's an ancient forest buried by a volcano 100 million years ago when the dinosaurs were roaming, and all that carbon was protected underneath the layers of earth. And now we're extracting that carbon and putting it back into the atmosphere. So, for the current issue of climate change, using carbon that is naturally flowing in the cycle is 1,000 times more sustainable than reintroducing fossil carbons. So that's kind of
it's really the only long-term sustainable solution. I mean, theoretically, if we keep on depending on these fossil fuels and we're utilizing them at the rate that we're using them,
Well, it depends. If you look at the 100 million year mark, it might be sustainable in 100 million years, but God knows if we will be. So,
well, how do you get it into these nice, beautiful pallets and everything?
yeah, so the thing about firewood is you lose money every time you touch it. So when I got into handling wood, everybody warned me, oh, you're going to be handling too much wood, you're going to be handling too much wood. And 2x stock, this is all locally sawn 2x stock, so it was relatively cost-effective wood material. And being a carpenter, we made a design that holds roughly a quart of firewood. And we cranked out a bunch of boxes. That way it comes right off the splitter, right into the firewood crate, and then right into the evaporator. So that way, our job is hard enough as it is. We want to try to make it as easy as we can where we can. So that was one solution. Maybe in the future we might switch to a loader and fill up a bucket and then dump it closer to the fire. But this actually has worked quite well, and it's also very space efficient for our space. You can't make a heap occupy this footprint as efficiently as you can palletized lumber. So it's a solution that worked for us. There's many ways to do it, and this is probably a decent way.
No, and it looks beautiful. And obviously, do you keep it in here for a full year or so? Like, how do you try to do you try to keep it as dry as possible? Do you not mind burning stuff that's a little green, or?
Yeah, you can get away with a little green, but the thing is that when you're burning green wood, every BTU that you're using to evaporate the moisture within that wood is a BTU that you're not getting to make maple syrup or to heat your home. So, the term is seasoned. I think if you split firewood a full season above freezing before you plan on burning it, that's a good start. That's a heck of a good start. If I cut it in June and I burn it in November, you know what? That's seasoned in my book.
Yep.
Now, dry firewood, you can get kiln dried, which will actually gain moisture between leaving the kiln and getting to your house, and takes a lot of energy in and of itself. And not only that, it takes energy to kiln dry it initially. Or you could also have seasoned for 2 years. They say that wood, a board will dry, or a timber, if you will, like these timber posts, they'll dry about an inch a year, roughly. So if you have a stick of firewood, the middle of that piece of firewood hasn't really had a great opportunity. However, by splitting it and cutting it to short lengths, you get pretty seasoned. So again, I say 3 months above freezing, that's seasoned in my book. If you can keep the snow off of it, obviously any moisture that's sitting on your wood is going to be BTUs that you're not getting. So
yeah, no, well, it does look like great firewood, and honestly, it's beautiful the way it's stacked and stored, so it looks great.
Nice. Keeps us warm, Firewood will warm you a few times, once when you cut it, once when you split it, once when you stack it, once when you burn it.
That's great, yeah. And a few more times if you are careless and you actually have to handle it more times than you'd like me. I have an operation where I need to make it a little more efficient because I've handled my wood more times than I'd like to say this last year in order to heat my house. But what do you got going on here, Josh? This is the sap tanks?
Yep, those are the sap tanks, and these are all the barrels I have left over from last year. You know, they're a little bit dirty, but everything inside is pure and clean. It's just basically leaves and pollen that might have blown in on the off season.
Yeah,
But,
so this is full of maple syrup, 55 gallons.
Yeah, it's about 670 pounds of maple syrup. Well, minus the taro weight, which is about 59 pounds.
And this is all you got left from last year?
Yeah, but we just made 2 barrels. You know, this is our second boil of the year, and we're really just getting into it. A good boil, we should be able to make, you know, 5 to 8 barrels. But these have been little, you know, fits and starts kind of boils. So we're just getting into it. And yeah, so there we got the tanks of sap. You know, they hold about 600 gallons apiece. And that's actually an old milk tank truck tank that fell off.
I love it, repurpose.
We use that for permeate water, so just the ultra pure wash water that we use.
Yeah. See, when you say your pure wash water, is that your reverse osmosis water or what?
Yeah, the byproduct of reverse osmosis. And the joke is that it's so pure, it'll suck the fillings out of your teeth, which isn't entirely true, but being that it's devoid of nutrients or minerals, osmosis is the flow from a high concentration to a low concentration. So if the water has nothing in it, it's going to draw those minerals out from whatever it's on. So it's really good for cleaning, because if you have anything stuck to your surface, that water is going to want to pull that material, that mineral off the surface. But it might actually start to erode the fillings in your teeth by drawing all the mineral in the filling into the water, or even the calcium in your bones.
Yeah.
Now, it's not harmful, it's not toxic, it's not going to hurt you, but it's such pure water that it's very good for cleaning.
That's interesting you say that, because honestly I just saw somebody post some type of article that was saying that reverse osmosis might have negative health or consequences if used over a long period of time and not used in any other water, because as you said, it is just removed all aspects of anything that was in that water, and it is the most pure water you can get, but that's not necessarily what we want as far as health-wise and minerals and all this stuff that we get from a nice natural ground source of water. It's just been filtered a little bit as opposed to heavily filtered through our reverse osmosis system. But that reverse osmosis system allows Josh to take a lot of that sap. You want to explain that real quick?
I can show it to you.
Yeah, that'd be great. Yeah, a lot warmer in here. Very nice.
Well, not only that, but part of the mess. There's too much going on.
Oh, don't worry about it. We'll
Clean it up and post.
exactly. No, you should see our farm. You're gonna feel a lot better about your cleanliness when you come visit us.
Well, everything that comes in contact with food is sterile, has been cleaned with hot water, no chemicals, scrubbed and sealed and covered. So do take solace in knowing that we do take food contact surfaces and hygiene very seriously. However, we are a small growing farm, and if you have a roof, you're going to try to fit as much stuff under it as you can. And that's why this is my office, my bottling facility, my pump room, my shipping and receiving facility. So, you know, we're trying to do the best we can with what we got.
No, I think Josh is a little hard on himself, honestly. I've been all around this farm so far, and it is pretty immaculate with how organized everything is and how clean everything is. I'm very, very impressed by the entire operation and the cleanliness and just the level of where everything's at. It's very impressive. So this is the reverse osmosis machine.
Well, we're going to start the story closer to the beginning.
Yeah.
So obviously the beginning is the woods, the taps, the trees, the maples. However, from the trees we have a system of pipeline that connects all the trees to our sugar shack. And we use vacuum in order to extract the sap from the tree. Now people might say, oh, the vacuum, does that harm the tree? Well, back in the day we used to use a 5/8 inch hole to get our sap. And it would get us roughly a gallon or two of sap during the run. Now we use a 5/16 inch hole. So it's half the diameter and a fraction of the circumferential area that we're damaging to the tree. So we use a smaller tap hole, we do less damage to the tree, but we receive the same amount of liquid down to the bottom of the hill. So vacuum is a game changer as far as the health and sustainability of our sugar bush. We use a 10 horsepower rotary vane vacuum pump to create a near perfect vacuum on our pipeline system. Now when you have a vacuum and you're extracting sap into that system, you can't have an open-ended vacuum in order to extract the sap. That's where the releaser comes in. So this is 2 cylinders. Basically we can close one off in order to clean the bottom one if we're having a continuous run and we need to clean in the middle. But that's the only reason why there's 2 cylinders. But it will fill up this has just been cleaned this morning to about this level, and it'll trigger a float valve. Excuse me, a float switch. That float switch will trigger these two deep well pumps that'll be able to pump out the sap past the check valve and keep the system closed. Yeah. So the sap will get to a certain level, then it will trigger a float switch. From that float switch, our two deep well pumps will pump the sap out past the check valve. And the check valve is basically, it only allows water to flow in one direction, so it'll open up, flow out, and then the gravity will slam it shut when it's all done. So that way we're able to keep a tight, closed vacuum while extracting sap. It pumps out of there up to our tanks where we store it until we're ready for the next step. That's reverse osmosis.
Do you ever have any issues with animals chewing in your line and ruining your vacuum or anything? Because I know when I have an extractor that's under vac, even just the smallest little leak around the glassware will lose my vac and it'll make my systems much less efficient. Do you have that problem?
Yeah, the squirrels give us job security, so moose will run through the pipeline and tear everything in its way. Deer will chew on it, get caught in it, not really caught in it, but they'll bump into it and knock it loose. The squirrels, the freeze-thaw cycle, coyotes, you'll see a whole little herd of baby coyotes, a pack of baby coyotes will come through and teethe on the lines. And so you can really tell a lot of stories based on what happens to different sections of your pipeline. And that's just the cost of doing business. They're not bothering me any by making me get out to the woods and check on everything.
Yeah, the excuse to go out to the woods is never a bad thing.
Yeah. All good things in moderation, of course. And so this is reverse osmosis. And as we mentioned earlier, osmosis is the flow of a particle from from high concentration to low concentration. Therefore, reverse osmosis is concentrating a particle or a solution from low concentration to high concentration. So in this case, we're taking the sugar in our sap that's at a very low concentration, maybe 1 or 2% coming out of the tree, and then we want to get it to a higher concentration of about roughly 17 to 20%. And just going from 2 to 4% actually eliminates half the water in the system. Going from 15 to 20, it only actually eliminates about 10% of the water in the system. So there is an exponential curve that reflects how much water you're extracting. And we're still evaporating about 4 gallons of water off for every 1 gallon of syrup that we make. So we're still doing a strong cooking process to get that caramelization, to get that good flavor. But were it not for this process, we would be burning, with this process, we burn 40 cords of firewood. Were it not for this process, we would be burning 400 cords of firewood, which really wouldn't be sustainable for our forests, nor would it be sustainable for our distribution of manpower. So this allows us to still make maple syrup the best way, using sustainable fuels while doing it at a scale that works for the community and for the ecology in which we exist.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. I really love that it's wood fired, and I really think that it's obviously makes a lot more sense to run it through a machine like this if you can turn 4 gallons of sap into a gallon of syrup. And you said it would be 40 gallons roughly if we didn't run it through a reverse osmosis system. So this has been a huge benefit to the whole maple syrup industry, and obviously regardless of your heating source, it makes sense to put your sap through a system like this if you're going any type of volume at all. I know when I was looking at different little systems for my own personal use, I was even thinking about getting a reverse osmosis system that was not nearly as high-tech or cool as this one, but it would cut down on that boiling time, because it really is, that's where your main sources or your main time and energy is going into that removing of the sap and boiling off that final bit of water. And if you can get 10 times the amount of production out of reverse osmosis system, that makes all the sense.
Yeah, and even people at the hobby scale, people with 5 trees in their backyards, there are some reverse osmosis water filters that it actually makes good sense to utilize, because it is a lot of work to burn 40 gallons off to make 1 gallon of syrup. And so anybody who's ever experienced that would definitely appreciate the value of a little bit of mechanical concentration.
It's true. Anybody that's boiled even a little bit of sap knows it's a lot of work to produce this syrup. There's a reason why syrup's as expensive as it is, and I honestly think it should be a lot more expensive based on my personal experience in turning the sap into syrup. It's a lot of work, and it doesn't come easy, and if you want a really great product, it takes a lot of effort.
Well, you know the main reason why maple syrup is so expensive?
Yeah, what's that?
Because it's worth it.
Yeah, there we go. Yeah, that's a good point. And honestly, it should not be even called maple syrup. The stuff that you buy in the Mrs. Buttersworth or any of those other types of brands that are, what are they, corn syrup based or what?
Yeah, corn or you know, there are all kinds of different cheap sugars out there that people are using. And to each their own, however, and they actually won't use the word maple syrup. They're kind of like a table syrup.
Okay.
One of the co-packers that I sold to would actually blend with corn syrup and sugar. They had a 90-10 corn syrup to maple syrup. They had a 10-90, so mostly maple syrup, a little bit of corn syrup. And then they also had 50-50 blends and 40-60 blends. And that just goes to show you that if you're going to the Sheraton Hotel, they might try to call it maple syrup, but it might only be 10% maple syrup. And you know, it's really kind of sad. I think actually Cracker Barrel is a big one where maple syrup had a bad production year, prices went really high, and they said, well, if we blend it, you know, it'll get us through this year. And they blended it, it got them through that year, but they never went back to unblending it. And it's just really, it's a sad state of affairs in the world today when, you know, nothing is really what they say it is, unless it comes in a regular forest bottle, in which case, you know, I'm out here every day making sure that we deliver the best product we can.
Yeah, and he's single source. You know, when you buy it at Rugged Ridge, he's not buying other people's maple syrup, rebottling it. He's not mixing anything. He's getting this sap right out of his trees on his land. He's boiling it all himself, and he's bottling it all himself. So
I have a lot of help.
Well,
yeah, going on. And Joseph over there, the man, the myth, the legend, a team of seasonal workers who have been coming back year after year. I'm really blessed to have guys that keep on coming back to work with me. You know, I can't say enough good things about the team that gets stuff done around here, because I'm just one crazy guy trying to do the best I can and trying to keep everything glued together. But it's the team that really makes the product, and by buying our products, you're not just supporting me and my efforts, but Joseph and his family, Max, Taylor, Kit, you know, the list goes on, and that's not even counting all the other people that, you know, have lent a hand in passing. So, you know, we all appreciate it.
That's beautiful, and it's so awesome that you're able to grow this operation to the point where you can feed several families, employ a couple people, and really just have an operation that is so cool and not only feeds you, but helps out some other people in the community and provides a couple jobs for the locals, because that's really, I think, the ultimate goal for, at least that's one of my goals, is not only do I want to create a cool product and create a great business, but being able to provide a really good job, give people a good pay, give people a good job, giving people a sense of purpose, give them a cool place to work and a place that they really feel good about coming to work every day, I think is one of the most valuable things you can provide a community. So I think it's really cool that you've done that, and obviously it's cool that you found some awesome people to help you out, and you can only grow your operation so big when you're only one guy, so we really need help if we really want to make our endeavors bigger than what we can personally do ourselves. So that's really cool, Josh.
Yeah, and the fact that people are coming back, they love the job, they love the work, and we don't pay bottom of the barrel prices. You know, I learned very early on that when you offer a little pay, you know, there's no incentive to work hard to come back to, you know, if you're worried about feeding yourself at the end of the day after working your ass off, if you're coming to work hungry, you know, you're not going to get the best out of it. So I really vet my guys, you know, the people that keep on coming back, the people that have been with me for years, and I pay them every bit that I can, because really, if they're not taken care of, you get what you pay for. You hire the best and you get the best. And, you know, a person that you're paying a living wage, you will get 2 or 3 times as much out of a minimum wage worker or somebody making less than a living wage. So
I've always felt the same way. You know, you could go after these high school kids and try to get the cheapest labor you can and try to find the lowest price possible to pay these people, but ultimately, is that really what you want out of your business? I want people that I like to work with. I want people that I enjoy being around. I also want to have people that feel good about working for me. I don't want that turnover rate. I want to have people that are comfortable. Once you train somebody up and you get them accustomed to the jobs, it costs a lot to find another person and to get another person trained up and to do all the things that you already know somebody knows how to do. So I think that having that employee retention and treating your employees the way they should be treated and the way you'd want to be treated is really what we should all be doing as business owners, and I think that's awesome that you're able to do that here.
I also don't want to hire anybody who isn't smarter than I am. You don't hire smart people to tell them what to do. You want to hire those smart people so that they can tell you what to do. I can walk into that sugar shack and I ask Joseph, hey Joseph, what do you need? What can I do to make this go smooth? Because, you know, you only know what you know, and when you listen to those around you and hear what they have to bring to the table, you know, it might not be the best way. It's always my way or a better way.
Yeah.
But I want to give the people around me the confidence to speak up and to tell me better ways, because, you know, this all didn't happen on its own. It's not all my idea.
And there's always ways of doing everything better. We can always improve our operations. We can always think about better ways of efficiency-wise and making things better, either making it more clean or making it operate in a little bit better way. And I also think that having employees, this is one thing I try to do. I don't know if you actively try to do this, but find out where your weak areas are and try to find those people that are really strong in those areas, and that just automatically makes your business stronger. So if you can just, obviously one way to correct your weaknesses is to really work on those weaknesses, but what I found sometimes the easiest way to correct a weakness is just put somebody in that place that's really strong in that area, and it automatically makes you stronger in that area.
Well, thankfully, one thing I got a lot of is weaknesses.
I don't know about that.
Oh, okay, awesome.
So Joseph, Josh just saying your praises out here, and let us know how awesome of an employee you are. You want to say anything? Where are you from?
From Worcester. I've been for around 43 years old, so I've been here my whole life.
Awesome. You love it here?
Oh yeah.
Great.
Wouldn't be anywhere else.
Well, I know Josh loves having you here, so
Couldn't do it
I
without
love being here. So.
that's what we like to hear. Here, thank you for having us, Josh. Your place is so beautiful. It was such a pleasure coming up here, spending time with you, talking entrepreneurial ventures, talking syrup, talking hemp, talking everything. So we covered a lot of territory today, and we really got a lot out of the day, and I really appreciate your time, all your knowledge and information, and just showing us around your beautiful spot you got here.
No, thank you, man. I mean, all this stuff is much better when shared, and I appreciate having you out here. It was a lot of fun sharing notes and letting the dogs frolic, and hopefully anybody who needs any maple syrup or CBD can find you over our websites online. We'll post the link below, and as always, we appreciate the support. So thanks.
Yeah, you know where to get the highest quality maple syrup and the highest quality CBD. And
The highest quality dogs as well.
I think Colorado loved this day as much as anybody. They're ready to come back again soon. So.
Yeah, they're always good to know.